together at the World Finals at the end of the year. For today's race, the time trial session will set the grid for the Grand Final. In the Grand Final, one driver per team will race for World Series points, where only the top 6 teams are going to score points at all. Only one team will be crowned the round 2 winner of the Manufacturers Cup.
Here is how the points stand after 2 rounds of the GT World Series in 2025. You can see Team Subaru made it 2 wins out of 2 rounds so far. BMW there just 2 points adrift, having finished second on both occasions. Nissan in third, they're tied on points with Mazda, Porsche, Toyota, Mercedes and McLaren. Compete on story. Crucially there, you can see in 9th place, Lexus, last year's champions, no points on the board. They need an absolute miracle to try and turn it around, and they need to get a victory here tonight. Anyway, it's our first time in the United States of America since 2019, and we're going to welcome a new member to the Gran Turismo family, Parker Kligerman. Parker, great to have you here. Thanks so much.
Road has been a 15 and just great platform for some of the best in the world display their skills on a massive stage. It's very cool.
Yeah, it's going to be super excited to see what happens here tonight in the Manufacturers Cup. Let's have a look at the season format though, just to guide you through how it's all gone down in 2025, because as you can see, it's been a really interesting and exciting affair. We started things off in London, then we went to Berlin in September, we're now of course here in Los Angeles tonight, and then the World Finals take place in Fukuoka right before Christmas, and it's going to be really interesting to see how it will play out, all the different sort of ebbs and flows and the points and the consistency that the teams and the drivers need over these first 3 rounds of the season. Can't be underestimated.
No, and we've seen some of the manufacturers. Right now it's Subaru up there dominating so far, so if you're driving for some of the other manufacturers, you know the pressure is on right now to rise up and find another, try and beat them.
No doubt about it. We've had the GT Fan Fest here, some of the most incredible cars I have ever seen. Modified cars, and you can see, just look, as far as the eye can see, it is an absolute treat up there.
Went and spent a little bit of time, saw all the setups, the cool cars, amazing.
Yeah, incredible. You can see there as well, Fukuoka. Scan the QR code at the bottom right hand corner of the screen. Tickets now on sale for the World Finals on the 20th and the 21st of December. We really look forward to seeing you there and capping off what has been another phenomenal season in the GT World Series. Anyway, we're about ready to get things underway in a few minutes' time, but let's head back over to Jules and catch up with a few of our competitors, some of the hometown heroes here this weekend.
Yes, hi guys! How is it being, I know you've got hometown advantage, how do you feel because the crowd are so behind you? It's good, right? That's gonna feel nice, right?
Yeah, it feels great. It feels great to have so much support, and it motivates me even more.
Yeah, how about you, Danny?
How am I? Nervous?
Oh, but you're going to be fine. It's going to be great. You've done this so many times before. And you haven't got this, normally you don't have this huge, massive crowd being like, Danny, Danny, Danny.
You know what?
Danny, 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 Danny.
The last time we were here in America, we were in New York. This is a better crowd.
Okay, so obviously, you know, you're kind of, a lot to kind of like, what do you, okay, first of all, let me calm down. First of all, I get a bit too excited about all of this. First of all, what are you going to do? Because obviously your BMW are like just behind, it's been the same for like round 1, round 2. What's the strategy going to be? Because you need to push much better what Danny's doing.
I'm going to prioritize track position and try to leave out of here with some points for the championship.
Yeah, you're going to do better. Danny, what about you? Because obviously, you know, it's like, I feel like you've got like the most pressure because obviously, you know, you're right out in front. But like, how are you gonna keep a hold of that lead?
I don't know. I'm not the greatest. I had a really hard time in practice today, so
that was practice.
It's a game of survival, I think, in my case.
Yeah.
You know, hopefully scrap a couple of points, but honestly, I don't know if that's gonna happen again.
Look, practice is practice. It's not the same as on here. That's like fresh slate. You think you can do it, right? Come on.
I'm glad you guys believe in me more than I believe in myself. So thank you.
You guys are going to do great. You've got a huge crowd behind you. We're so excited to see how you do. Go sit down, relax. Well, I say relax. Get ready. And yeah, we believe in them, right? Let's give them one last cheer. Let's throw it back over to Tom.
Yeah, thanks very much indeed, Jules. Looking forward to seeing how Randall and Donovan are getting again on here tonight. As you can see, a smorgasbord of drivers on the grid for this one. Some new faces, some familiar ones. Keen to see what's going to happen here tonight because there are some big moments, big opportunities on offer for some teams.
There definitely is, and we spoke to Donovan Parker earlier today, driving for Ferrari, and we asked him, what do you think out tonight? And he said, I'm here to win. And then we talked to every other driver, and they said, I'm here to win. So everyone thinks they have that possibility. Maybe Daniel Solis didn't feel like he has a ton of confidence, but everyone coming here with the idea that they're here to win.
No doubt about it. Now, Mazda are third in the championship going into this one. Samuel Cardinal's behind the wheel. Let's have a look at this RS Vision car. You can see it's a fictional car. It's not something that you can go and drive in real life. Front engine, rear wheel drive, naturally aspirated. It's got a rotary engine and it's putting out an incredible amount of power. Samuel Cardinal, just 18 years old, and the pressure here at these GT World Series events is incredible. It's one thing in your sitting room at home with, you know, your cat and your dog, and you know, your sodas in the fridge around you. When you're on a stage with people shouting and an amazing audience, it's one thing completely different.
When we go to that shot showing the faces of the drivers, you can tell the intensity that's around them and just the feeling of focus that they have at that time. You just sense it, and you can tell the crowd interaction. That's such an intense place to be. When you drive in a real car, you don't hear a crowd. Here, they'll hear the crowd.
Absolutely, and we've got qualifying coming up here, Parker, as well. It's a one-lap shootout. I mean, there is no regret.
There isn't. It's incredibly important. Every single driver said track position matters. It's incredibly important to get up front, and qualifying is where you can start to do that right off the bat. With the tire strategies ahead of them, they have the possibility of using that track position to their advantage, so it's absolutely imperative that you qualify well.
Well, let's have a look at this circuit then for the first time. Road Atlanta, Group 3 cars, racing medium tyres, and as you can see, a one-lap time attack. How do you prepare yourself mentally when you've only got one shot to this?
Well, a lot of these drivers practice throughout all this time leading up, right? We talked to some of them, they said, you know, how many hours they spend every day or night on the sim trying to get ready for this. So they show up prepared. We saw when they were practicing yesterday where they'd walk up and they'd do 3 laps and they'd go, that's it, that's what I have. I know exactly what I'm doing. So you have to have that muscle memory by this point of exactly what you need to do around this racetrack, an incredibly fast racetrack, high speed corners around here, and long straights that are incredibly important to the lap time getting on those long straights.
Yeah, it's a no margin for error sort of circuit. That first sector in particular, you know,
it's a good one.
You're one-ton steering wheel, but it's a roller coaster, isn't it?
It is. It's blind crest at the top into 2 over 3. Then you shoot down through the S's. It compresses the car down and sort of go up towards turn 6 to 7, and that long back straightaway where you hope you've got the run you want towards the incredibly braking zone into the 10 chicane.
Yeah, you've got the drivers there on your screen at the moment. They are primed and ready to go, and you can imagine that the heart rate's going to have gone up by a few beats per minute, hasn't it?
It's hitting the limit right now. This is the worst part. This is the moment you're thinking about everything. You're thinking about what you're going to do for the lap. But the best part is when you actually get going, the heart rate comes down a bit. That's when you can focus on the task again.
Get yourself into that sort of flow state, really, isn't it? Yeah, no doubt.
That's what I hope to find every time. I don't know if I do it every time, but I try.
Yeah, drivers out on circuit then here at the moment. There is Fred Jeffrey closest to your picture, driving for the Honda team. You've got Lexus and Harold Belton on the right-hand side there as well. Looking forward to seeing what Harold is going to be able to do. And Lexus, they need a big evening's worth of racing here tonight. As we said, last year's Manufacturers' Cup champions, and they are yet to get off the storyboard. But we are now then just moments away from getting qualifying underway here in LA. So drivers then are ready to go for qualifying. We're just a few moments away here at the Michelin Raceway, Road Atlanta, from action about to begin. And let's see how this one is going to work out then. Simon Rosenberger for Lamborghini will lead the field around that final corner, or lead himself on that final corner, and in towards turn 1. As we say, one bite of the cherry. He's now on his first and only flying lap in this session. Talk us through this first sector here, Mark, because it's incredible.
Well, you saw a bit of a wiggle there through turn 1. It's incredibly important to roll a ton of speed into there, but the car gets very light in the exit. Now down through the S's, you want to stay committed to the throttle, so it's all about rhythm through there. Then over here, shooting down towards turn 6, you use all the curve there on the exit of 5. Down this back straightaway, it goes into a downhill braking zone. That's kind of a theme here at Road Atlanta. Into 6, and this sets you up for 7. This is possibly the most important corner on the racetrack. He's got a penalty there.
He has, and that doesn't mean the lap time will be disallowed, so he'll be starting from the back of the grid unless anybody else, of course, gets a penalty. So that's, you know, we're not even halfway through the lap, and he's got.
Can't do that. Can't do that. And you'll see that through the S's because it's hard to stay full throttle down to those S's, but it's worth so much lap time if you can. So that's definitely where he got that, where a lot of drivers will struggle with the track limits.
Yeah, and we talk about that pressure, and that's just an example of it. You know, Simon Rosenberger, as we said, making his Gran Turismo World Series debut as a young lad, and it's so easy to just make those slight errors. So let's see what it looks like as he comes through into the final sort of part of this lap, making his way round through that final corner, and we'll get at least a reference lap time there for him, a 1:19.274 for Simon Rosenberger. Then what about everybody else in terms of the second time? We can see Harold Belson, he's on your screen at the moment, the Chilean driver for Lexus. As we mentioned a couple of times already, they need a big weekend here. They need to get qualifying sorted because it will just give them one fewer headache to worry about fighting their way through the field in the race. Harold Belson, he knows how to drive this car. He's very familiar with it. Part of the winning lineup that won the Manufacturers' Cup in 2024. He goes to the top of the time sheets, a 1:18.5. That's a bit more like it.
And that's more of what we expected from what we saw in practice. They even got down to 17s late in practice, but we'll see. I expect a low 1:18 could be towards the pointy end of the field right here as we've watched Donna Barker heading this downhill braking zone. Easy to overcook it here. Got through it nicely.
Yeah, it was 2 tenths up in that middle sector there was Donovan Parker returning to the Gran Turismo World Series, and that's aging Ferrari 458 Italians. A little bit long in the tooth, that one now, but he makes his way around the final corner. Might be an old car, but it's certainly a fast lap time there. A 1:18.273 for the American driver. Now, Trent Jeffrey in the Honda NSX. Honda have had a difficult time of things over the course of the 2025 season. They're one of 4 manufacturers yet to get off the bottom of the scoreboard. Could Trent be the answer that that team is looking for? Making his way through, looks okay so far. In terms of the sector times, he was actually pretty handy in the middle sector. Not the fastest we've seen, but not the slowest either.
Lost a lot in that last sector there for him, and it looked like into 10A and 10B, just maybe a little bit conservative, I would say, in the braking zone there. Possibly gave up the time there.
Yeah, let's see what Arthur Mosso can do then as well. He's on his out lap then here, so now ready to begin his one and only flying lap is the Brazilian driver. This McLaren machine, as you can see, mid-engined, and first corner, again, looks okay. What are we looking for here in terms of the behaviour of the car in this first sector?
It looks very smooth. That's not always the best thing through there. You want to almost see them chuck the car. Then as we go down to these downhill S's, watch how he works the wheel. Almost trying to flick it into this corner. Now you catch that curve. Perfect. Don't go too far. You get a track limit. Oh, great exit there. Out of 5, now heading towards 6. You want to use a bit of that curve, but not all of it. That means you've probably rolled too much speed.
Just 800ths of a second down in that first sector is Arthur Mosso Nunez. So looking pretty good so far then here through this double apex right-hander. You've got to compromise the exit, and he's going to carry that mistake all the way down to the next braking zone there. So that could cost Mosso a bit more time than he would have liked to have left on the table here, maybe.
It's like he turned in and just didn't quite have the cut out of the front tires, couldn't get to the apex, knew it, was trying to get back the throttle, get the run. Look at that. Loses almost 3 tenths now in that sector.
Yeah, coming down towards the braking zone. So he's going to have to try and make that up in the final sector. But the problem is when you're down, when you're sort of on the back foot, it's just so easy to snatch a brake, overdrive the car a little bit really here. So Mosso just needs to keep it quite clean and quite tidy and just limit the damage from that, what was a very slight error. Out of the final corner, he goes third quickest, so he's in front of the Honda, in front of the Lamborghini, but not the quickest time we've seen so far. About Lanuza then, the Frenchman. This is Noah Lanuza. It should have been Lucas Minelli who would have been behind the wheel.
Great first 2 sectors here.
Good.
Yeah, all about this braking zone. Get the car across that curve. Now back hard on the throttle. Use the curve there.
You can see him standing away at the throttle there, just trying to find traction, trying to find a bit of grip, but looking pretty good here through that final corner. Front engine, rear wheel drive Mercedes, and he goes to the top of the line. Well, nearly 3 tenths on the second. That's phenomenal there from Noah Lanuza, the driver who makes his debut in the Gran Turismo World Series. In the moment, he's chucked it to the top of the class. Fantastic. What about Adriano Carrazza in the Toyota? Toyota, of course, former Manufacturers' Cup champions in years gone by. Let's see what Carrazza can do. We know he's fairly robust in terms of his driving style. He's not afraid of getting his elbows out, but is that going to translate into a strong lap time here? He goes over the line. He's third quickest, so the most wanted, the most Mosso Nunez, Jeffrey and Rosenberger down a place. And not a bad lap time there for him. We also spoke to Angelina Stroza earlier on here. Parker.
Yeah.
And, he was pretty feisty. He said he wants to go out there and win.
Used a lot of curve on the inside of 10A there. That set him up nicely for 10B. Didn't have the best first 2 sectors. We'll see if he picks something up in the 3rd sector.
And that final corner then goes Aguilera Stroza, 2 tenths of a second down, but 3rd quickest for him. So in front of Adriano Garazza, who we saw come across the line a few moments ago. We've got Cardinal, who will be up next in the Mazda, and he's now beginning his first flight lap. And you can see and also hear how different this car is.
You gotta love the sound of it, a rotary engine like that. High-pitched squeal almost, screaming as he goes over the crest here to 2-3. Little wide on the exit, you want to be further on that right side apex curve.
Is there an argument here for the mid-engine cars that they'll perform maybe a bit better through that first sector because they've got the weight over the front axle?
You have to think through turn 1, just a little bit more better weight distribution through there as it's a high-speed corner that you really lean on the outside tires, but when we get to the race, could mean they hurt those rear tires a little bit more.
Coming down towards this double apex right-hander. This is where we saw a mistake earlier on from Harold Velsen. He just made a little bit of an error on the exit curve. There was
a little wiggle there.
Yeah, same thing, exactly that. It's so easy to just light up the rear tire a little bit more than you were expecting. And again, you carry that mistake all the way down to the next braking.
And that's the thing, you're thinking about it the whole way down this back straightaway. It goes on forever, it feels like. And once you made that mistake, you see how the time has gone away. Almost 4.5 tenths off P1 right now. Just lost so much time there from that turn 7 down that back straightaway.
Yeah, coming through into the final sector then here for Samuel Cardinal. So it's not really a lap time that's going to trouble the top of the order, but maybe Mazda can get themselves in towards the mid-grid. 6th fastest, that's about as good as they could really have hoped for there. Half a second away from the quickest time. But I mean, if you look at the lap times there, we've only got, you know, sort of under a second, well, we've got a second and a half under that even, separating all of the drivers at the moment.
Basically 8 tenths.
Yeah,
you know,
so tight.
For sure, and if you're in the top 5, it's half a second or less than that right now.
Another driver making his debut then is Celso Filho, the Brazilian driver for Nissan. Nissan, former Manufacturers' Cup champions back in 2023. This is his debut Gran Turismo World Series event. He's pretty used to doing a bit of karting in his spare time. Here's Filho then.
Bit off the pace here, having a problem with his brakes we're hearing right now, so just sort of putting in a lap to sets that out, see if he can fix that.
That's such a shame there for Filho there, because that's going to be, you know, back of the grid, and that's just, again, giving you more work than maybe you'll have wanted to do, and you can see that reflects in the ultimate lap time. What, 6 seconds off the pace? What about Randall Hayward? He goes 8th quickest in the BMW, so the team that are second in the standings don't have a particularly brilliant qualifying. Now, what about Danny Solis? He's been part of this Subaru team. The quickest in the straight line, and look at this, nearly 8 tenths down.
And it's just hurting it right now. And you know, he was nervous beforehand. He told us when he was being interviewed in front of the crowd, had the crowd pumped up. He's gonna hope to find better pace in the race for sure.
Yeah, that's so disappointing there for Subaru, for Danny Solis. They are your championship leaders by 2 points over BMW, and they only qualify P10 as Danny Solis comes to the timing line and takes the checkered flag. So Noah Lanuza then, the French driver on his debut in the Gran Turismo World Series, qualifies on pole position for Mercedes-AMG. That is a supreme lap time here at the Road Atlanta circuit in Los Angeles, of course. We are here for Gran Turismo World Series 3, and we have Mercedes on pole position for the very first time this season. But the big hitters there, Subaru and BMW, right down the order on the grid.
They've got serious work to do. This was what the other manufacturers were hoping for here in this third event, was to have this chance to sort of one-up the Subaru, the Mazdas. They've been able to do that.
And if you're a driver that perhaps hasn't qualified as well as you would want to have done, how do you put that into the back of your mind, ready to go into this race?
You know it's a long race. You know there's strategy involved. You know the tires, you know, tire conservation could be a part of this. So you just have to sort of